correctly put towards YouTube, but we'll see. It says it's starting. All right, so hi everybody. Seth Cole here, and I'm live streaming today. The NNSCRA Talks Wrestling episode, and I haven't done this in a while, and I'm thinking about if this stream comes out good, I may end up doing a live stream for the remainder of these when we do Raw reviews, SmackDown summaries, that kind of stuff. Gonna have to see if that's gonna be what we're gonna do though, because we may end up having a factor come in with Skype. So I'm not exactly sure that's going to be such a good thing. It may help, not really help frame rates and stuff, but we'll see. We'll see how this one comes out. So as you can see, this is the Payback's predictions video. And basically in this, we're just going to be looking ahead towards WWE's pay-per-view Payback coming up here on this Sunday, the 1st of... Wow, can't believe we're already up to May. 1st of May it's going to be, and saying I've got frame rates dropping here and everything. Well, can't really help that. So, anyway, going to be just basically giving predictions and whatnot. Maybe cover a little bit of what happened on SmackDown and up to Payback. And, you know, I think WWE is throwing something our way where we're not really sure how it's going to end, but yet we kind of know how it's going to end. The whole thing, the Bullet Club seems to be the big factor with them coming in to help AJ Styles, and AJ Styles doesn't really want their help. And we also know that Finn Balor has been making announcements that, hey, I'm going to be coming back to Raw, or at least up to the main roster. So it's like, he was a Bullet Club member. What are we looking at here? So this is going to be very, very interesting to see where they go with this. To me, I kind of think that they kind of have put AJ Styles into the limelight versus Roman Reigns, basically to get him set up for a feud with Finn Balor. Whether or not we're going to see the Bullet Club get involved in all this, I don't know. Whether it's going to be Finn Balor and the Bullet Club versus AJ Styles, unless AJ can get some backup as well. Of course, we've got the Usos that are now feuding with the Bullet Club, so I don't know. It seems really strange to me here's the thing. Here's where I'm going to be a little bit confused with how this is going to go. Is if Finn Balor does come and he does take and become the leader, so to speak, of Anderson and Gallows of the Bullet Club, where's it going to put AJ Styles? Because the way this sets up to me is you're going to have Roman Reigns and the Usos versus the Bullet Club and either AJ Styles or Finn Balor. So the question of the leadership of the Bullet Club is going to be the big factor, I think. I'm seeing it as Finn Balor, to be honest with you. I'm seeing almost a kind of a feud going on between AJ Styles and Finn Balor as went on between CM Punk and Wade Barrett when the two of them were fighting for leadership of the Nexus. The only problem is you've got AJ Styles in the middle of a world title chance, and you've got Roman Reigns, who's a cousin to the Usos. So there's so many different ways this thing could go that I'm not really sure where they're going to have it head as far as the leadership of the Bullet Club. There's actually been some rumors swirling around that Roman Reigns could turn heel and he could end up being the leader of the Bullet Club. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see Roman Reigns doing that, especially with the fact you've got the Usos coming in now going up against the Bullet Club. I don't think you're going to see Roman Reigns turn against his cousins, blah, blah, blah. So, sorry, that ain't going to happen. But to me, the big thing in all of this is, if it is AJ Styles, okay, that would make a little bit more sense, because then you've got Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, who just had a battle for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. By the way, AJ Styles is not going to win the title this Sunday. Just throwing that out there. But then you also have a feud with the Usos and the Bullet Club. So you'd have the 3-on-3 that's been built up and everything. Where does Finn Balor fit in all of this is the question. That's going to be the big question. And the interesting thing here, too, is there was, I guess, when he got on the bus leaving the last NXT recording, fans said that he said, "I'll see you on Monday Night Raw." If that is the case, then that would mean he's in essence saying, "I'm not going to be at Payback." So if he's not going to be at Payback, then I don't know. I just don't know where they're going with this. All right. So anyway, um, the skin thing that's kind of interesting that they've kind of thrown into all of this is the falling apart of the League of Nations. I think the only reason this is going on right now, why they're having the League of Nations disband, is because of the fact that Bray Wyatt got injured. Obviously, they had Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman, who were all going to go up against Sheamus, Alberto Del Rio, and Rusev. It was supposed to actually, I think, be a 4-on-4, but then Luke Harper got injured, so they disposed of Wade Barrett to make it 3-on-3. Now with Bray Wyatt injured, there's really no sense of going on with that storyline anymore and having Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman go up against somebody. So they're basically disbanding the group. I think the only reason that group was really formed was to end up having a faction to be able to help go up against a 4-person Wyatt family. So that's out the window. So that's gone. That storyline pretty much has ended. I guess the only other storyline that we basically have is there going to be any surprise returns at Payback? And in all honesty, I don't think we're really going to see any of that. I know that Seth Rollins is getting close to coming back. I know that John Cena is close to coming back, but I don't think Payback's going to be a place you're going to see them making their return. So there's that. Maybe the Monday Night Raw after. I don't know. So let's get down to the predictions then, the match card and all that for this year's WWE Payback pay-per-view. Okay, so the kickoff match, which I'll be shocked if anybody tunes into it because it's basically a match we've already seen. Kalisto versus Ryback for the United States Championship. Now, why they're doing this, I'm not certain unless they weren't able to find anybody else to be able to face off against Kalisto. Kalisto and Ryback, like I said, it's deja vu, so they know each other's style and moves and all that stuff. Maybe they'll just have the exact same match that they had the last time. But I think you're going to see Kalisto probably still retain the title. Ryback's just there to be an opponent as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the two of them had an okay match when they last met up, but they're really going to have to step it up to try and make it better than their last matchup was because, you know, you've got the Lucha Libre high-flying style of Kalisto versus the big tough power of Ryback, and more often than not, it doesn't play out all that well. You know, Rey Mysterio, great Lucha Libre, small guy, small wrestler, but when he went up against opponents like The Big Show, when he went up against Kane, it just never came off as well as when he went up against someone like maybe CM Punk or John Morrison, something like that. A smaller wrestler, not a giant power wrestler, but more of a technical wrestler against a Lucha Libre wrestler, you're going to have a much better matchup. So, there's the kickoff match. We'll see how many people tune in for that. So, we started off with Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin. And, of course, this one, we know where this one's going to go. Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin. Ziggler's taking on the role of jobber. He's not going to be winning this matchup. Baron Corbin, I don't know if they're going to have him win or not, too. I was actually watching David Rivera, Fort Minor Project's live stream, when he did his whole prediction thing, and he had a number of guest people on, and I believe one of them was OK Fabe. And he brought out a very interesting point that, I don't know, maybe it's a possibility. Extreme Rules is right around the corner. And we've seen Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin pretty much beat each other up outside of the ring. And he said that maybe at Extreme Rules we could end up seeing them have a Falls Count Anywhere matchup of some kind, with this matchup here at Payback ending in a double countout. That's a possibility. That's a very big possibility. We're going to have to see. Regardless, if one person has to lose, it's going to be Dolph Ziggler. But the both of them could end up getting, counted out. Next matchup is Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. Why are we having this matchup? I don't get it. We had Brock Lesnar beat Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. We had Chris Jericho win his matchup versus AJ Styles, and now the two of them are going up against each other. In this one, I've seen Dean Ambrose winning the matchup. I doubt that WWE would make the same mistake twice and put Chris Jericho over. Unless Chris Jericho's like the modern day Hulk Hogan saying, I'm not going to lose to him. I think that's what Brock Lesnar did. I think Brock Lesnar said, I'm not going to lose to Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. But I don't know. I don't see them having Chris Jericho win, but if they do, that's going to be a shocker. I'm going with Dean Ambrose to win because, poor guy needs to finally get a pay-per-view win. It just really needs to come to him. All right, so the next up is the WWE Tag Team Champions #1 Contenders Tournament Final. And we knew when we saw the bracket who was going to be the final two. We knew it was going to be a couple of NXT tag teams going to the finals with Enzo Amore and Big Cass going up against the Vaudevillains. This one is extremely tough for me to try and make a prediction. I've really thought about this one, but with what I'm seeing based on who the New Day is going to be facing for the tag team titles, I think the Vaudevillains. The Vaudevillains look like they're going to be the ones to win. Basically because the Vaudevillains have not gone up against anybody else since they came up to the main roster. Enzo Amore and Cass, however, have had verbal confrontations with the Dudley Boys. So to me, I think you're going to see the Vaudevillains. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the #1 contenders against the New Day. And then you're going to see Enzo Amore and Cass go up against Devon and Bubba Ray in a feud. That's just where I see this thing going. So the Vaudevillains are my pick to win that matchup. Next up, we're going to have Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. This, to me, I think could be maybe one of the best matchups of the night because the two of them are really, really good in the ring together. Think back to their days in NXT. They had great matchups, and they've really had great matchups even when there have been other people in the ring. I mean, you had Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, several others around them in Fatal 4-Way matchups, Triple Threat matchups, Tag Team matchups, all that, and they still are able to put on a good show against each other. I think between the two of them, though, if I'm going to pick a person to win, just to fit in with his persona, Kevin Owens is going to win the matchup because Kevin Owens is a prize fighter. Kevin Owens always seems to not want to fight during Raw and SmackDown. He waits till the pay-per-views and then he wins. I think it's going to be Kevin Owens that's going to be the winner of that matchup. Then we're going to have Mr. McMahon announce if Shane McMahon or Stephanie McMahon will be running Monday Night Raw. Now, this is very, very important to me because I am a big-time advocate of the brand split. Bring back the brand split. And I think this is the setup for the brand split. Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon. I'm surprised Triple H isn't in this. We're having it be sibling versus sibling rather than sibling versus sibling and sibling-in-law because I thought the Authority was going to come back as a power figure. You'd have Shane McMahon as a power figure, but apparently we're just having it be Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon. This is the way I see it. It's going to be Shane McMahon in charge of Raw, Stephanie McMahon in charge of SmackDown. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be shocked. This, I believe, is the setup for the brand split. Whether or not the brand split's going to take place on Payback, I don't know. But I think it's going to happen, and we're going to have to see if we're going to have some brand split stuff going on at Extreme Rules. I'm really looking forward to seeing if they're going to break it up before we get to Survivor Series, because that's when the brand split really seems to be a thing. And maybe, just maybe, we'll bring back the Bragging Rights pay-per-view as well, if we have a brand split. Next up, The Miz versus Cesaro for the Intercontinental Championship. A lot of stuff going on here, a lot of backing on Cesaro, but because the fact that Maurice is going to be ringside, and Maurice has made her return to WWE as Miz's manager, it's going to be Miz retaining the title. Cesaro's not going to get it. They'll have a good matchup, I think, but I don't see Cesaro getting the matchup, getting the title. Miz is going to retain with some shenanigan help from Maurice. There's no doubt about that. Next up is the women's matchup. Charlotte with Ric Flair, her father, in her corner versus Natalya with Bret Hart in her corner. Now, to me, I'm not even really sure why we still have this matchup going on. I don't know why Natalya is the number one contender, unless it's like Legacy versus Legacy, Flares versus Hearts, but okay. Doesn't make sense to me when you've got Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, who are technically getting nothing right now as far as good matchups. So Natalya had a tap-out victory over Charlotte, so now Natalya's going to counter Ric Flair shenanigans with Bret Hart. This is going to be a disastrous matchup as far as I think concerned, just with the fact that this is not what should be happening at this pay-per-view. Charlotte should be going up against either Sasha or Becky Lynch, and since she's going up against Natalya, it's pretty much obvious. Charlotte's going to retain the title. Somehow, some way, she's going to retain the title. Natalya's not going to win it. Natalya, as far as I'm concerned, I think is out of championship holdings now. It's just not going to happen. So, Charlotte's going to retain. Bret Hart being there is going to do absolutely zilch. Last but not least, we have our WWE World Heavyweight Championship matchup. Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. Everybody wants AJ to win. Everybody wants Roman Reigns to lose. Sorry, it's not going to happen this soon. Roman Reigns is going to retain the title somehow, some way. Like I said, there's all these different questions, though, about what's going to happen. I'm not so certain you might not see this matchup end in a disqualification. You might end up seeing the Bullet Club come out, Anderson and Gallows, and then you may end up seeing the Usos come out. And I think here's the interesting thing. I think you may see the Bullet Club cost AJ Styles the world title. That's going to cause AJ to be upset with the Bullet Club, and then Finn Balor may be able to come in as the leader, and they may end up targeting AJ Styles. So that could be an interesting factor, an interesting storyline that they could end up using with the Bullet Club, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, that whole triangle, if you will. And then you've got Roman Reigns in the mix. The question I'm wondering is, with AJ Styles, Roman Reigns having this battle for the championship at Payback, is this meaning that, since we know something's going to probably happen, is AJ Styles still going to be the number one contender for the title, or is somebody else going to step to the forefront against Roman Reigns at, say, Extreme Rules? I don't know. I don't know if AJ Styles goes off now on the storyline afterwards of getting in the whole Bullet Club feud. Is there going to be a new number one contender for Roman Reigns' title? Not certain. I'm wondering. Now, I don't know what the time frame was of his possible return or something, but could Seth Rollins come back? Because keep in mind, Seth Rollins never lost the title. He had to drop it because of his injury. So if Seth Rollins dropped the title, he could easily come back and he could invoke a rematch clause against Roman Reigns. Maybe? Possibly? I don't know. Other possible number one contenders that could come into the forefront with the disbanding of the League of Nations, you could maybe see someone like Sheamus, someone like Rusev maybe step up to the forefront. Possibly even Alberto Del Rio. I mean, Del Rio was the first one to walk away from the League of Nations, so maybe he might try and go for the title against Roman Reigns. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So anyway, that's it for my predictions for the WWE Payback pay-per-view. That'll be coming up in 2 days on May 1st. Yeah, should be very interesting to see what happens here with that. So again, just a rundown of who I'm predicting to win. Kalisto versus Ryback for the U.S. title. Kalisto will retain. Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin. I'm thinking along the same lines as kayfabe, maybe a double countout, but if someone is going to win, it's going to be Baron Corbin. Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. I'm going with the Ambrose Asylum. Enzo Amore and Cass versus the Vaudevillains for the number one contendership for the tag team titles. I'm going with the Vaudevillains. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. It's going to be KO. McMahon announcing Stephanie and Shane, who's going to be running Monday Night Raw. It's going to be Shane running Monday Night Raw, Stephanie running Friday Night SmackDown. Please bring on the brand split. Miz versus Cesaro for the Intercontinental title. It'll be The Miz retaining. Charlotte versus Natalya with Ric Flair in Charlotte's corner, Bret Hart in Natalya's corner. Women's title on the line, Charlotte will retain, and Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns will retain the title. So, that's my predictions. Thanks all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully this live stream comes out okay. If it does, I'll be doing it for future NNSCRA Talks Wrestling episodes. So, again, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Till then, I'm out.